Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and fans of severe weather. So we're looking at the convection outlook for today, and this is what the National Weather Service has put up. As you can see, my radar here, there is a lot of wind and flow that's going into the country here. You can see this cold front that's going to be blowing into the Midwest, into Oklahoma, and the associated area around Oklahoma right there. And you can see this thin line of storms that's starting to develop here. Right now, it's just rain and pretty much nothing right there. But later on this afternoon into the evening, then we're going to have a mixture of this flow because we got this southerly flow that's coming up here. This cold front's going to blow over. These storms are going to roll through, and then you also got a cut from these northwesterlies right here that are going to be blowing in here, merging with this southerly flow. So you got an outflow boundary line right here, and so you have an upper level trough that's kind of moving into the area right here. So when these storms get to this area into Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, parts of Texas right here, they're really going to jump up a notch, it looks like, in intensity. So right now, I'm doing the broadcast to take a look at the data and let's see what we can figure out about this. And I have not looked at the data yet, so all of you and I are going to be the first ones to check out the data as it's happening live right now, just to see what we're looking at here. So first, a convection outlook, excuse me. You can see over Tulsa and south of Tulsa, that is not marginal, I'm sorry, that moderate risk. That is the highest convection risk that they have placed here. And then outside of that, then you got that enhanced risk, and then the slight risk and the moderate risk around it right here. So today, all hazards are possible. And when I say all hazards, this is rich for the possibility of tornadoes today. The Severe Weather Center, National Weather Service, is saying that tornadoes with strength of EF2 and above are possible today, as well as damaging hail and some severe and heavy damaging wind gusts. All of those are possible within this region today. So I'm going to show you that as we get into this here. I need to go back to my stream a little bit here for a minute. There we go. So let's go to the National Weather Service's let's go back to the National Weather Services page here, and you can see those, that convection outlook right there. And that 15% hatched area, that is an enhanced kind of area where that threat is a little bit greater. And that's really the concentrated area of what they're looking at for that for the most severe potential of that weather. All right, you get like 10% or higher probabilities. So, all right. We're going to take a look at that. That's where the storms are at right now. The cold front is right here, just in front of that line of storms right there, just ahead of it, and it's going to be blowing in this way, going across the Midwest, where you got this southerly flow and the northeasterlies coming in behind it. All right, so as soon as those start to merge, what happens is that because you got two different flows of wind going in here, that cold front's going to blow through, these storms are going to come in, and then you're going to get these two flows of upper level wind that's going to be happening here, and they're going to merge, and that is enough. If you have supercell development in this line of storms, that's going to be more than enough to get thunderstorms rotating. All right, so that's going to make some supercells develop, and that's going to make some mesocyclones develop, and that's going to give the greatest potential for some tornado drop. All right, so let's take a look at some more data here. This is tomorrow's probabilities. I'm going to go over that a little bit later, and we're going to take a look at what we got there as far as that. So here you can see that cold front and that low pressure system that's kind of blowing into this area right here, that outflow boundary line, that dry line right there. All right, so temperatures are already kind of jumping up in the south a little bit on that line where you see those 71, 74, and on the southern end right there down by Houston and the bottom of Texas, those temperatures are rising a little bit. But later on in the day, you might see those temperatures jump up a little bit more along that front as that cold front comes through. 64 in dew points already in those areas. Those, it's even 52 in Kansas up there. So you're getting some strong dew points, nice wet sector in there. That's going to be enough to support severe weather in that area where you're getting that that humidity. Right now the Cape is not looking that bad because nothing really is kicked up right now, but later on, as I've said before in many videos, you're going to see that jump up a little bit in this area. As soon as those this area of Cape right here, just ahead of the front, that's probably going to jump up in Cape probably to 1,500, 2,000 joules, I would say, and that's just my assumption on it. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Wind shear already is at 60 knots in some areas here. I mean, looking here, some of it's, that can't be. Is that 90? That says 90 right there. That's 90 knots. You got 70 over here of wind shear. It's anywhere from 50 to 90 knots of bulk wind shear moving through this area. That's going to be extremely supportive for rotating supercells right there. Is because, you know, you just have an overabundance of wind that is going into this area here. So just really strong winds. Surface vorticity, you can see it kind of lining up along the low right here, along that that cold front, just ahead of it, it looks like, or maybe right on it. I can't really tell based on its position right there. But that is very low surface vorticity. But as it develops throughout the afternoon and the evening, that's going to jump up quite a lot. Just based on the threat that the National Weather Service put out, I can tell that there's going to be spots in here where it's going to jump up. You got 4 right here, surface vorticity. It's very low, but you know, even right now, it's there, even for little brief spin-up tornadoes. You know what I mean? As far as the, you know, the surface vorticity is looking. Um, all right, so supercell composite, we don't really have that yet, but you can see this dark shaded area that's fallen just, it's following just ahead of the low, just ahead of the cold front right there. So you're going to see that develop and pop up later on as the supercells start rolling out and that storm starts to intensify when it gets into that southerly flow. All right, tornado parameter isn't there yet, but once again, that's going to jump up later on in the day once these storms start to intensify and helicity. So this is all live data. That's the only problem with it. You can't really see the forecasting on it, you know, because we don't, excuse me, we don't really have that potential yet. So categorical, this is what we're looking at right here. We've got a little bit of a marginal risk with a slight risk up there in the north as well. But that isn't as severe as what we're looking at down here in the south. We do, you know what I mean, we do have the potential for some tornadoes up there in Wisconsin, parts of Ontario, all the way up to the Canadian border and the top of Minnesota. You got some potential for some spin-up and brief tornadoes up there. Down here, this is our main focus for today, and you can see that 15% moderate risk, Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Norman, Broken Arrow, Midwest City, Oklahoma. So all those areas right there, you are in that hatched area of additional 10% for EF2 or greater tornadoes today. So this is your day to be weather aware and take a look at that. You know what I mean? Just pay attention to what is going on today and the warnings for today. For tomorrow, we're going to go over the data for today as well here in a minute, but looks like for the next couple of days, we're going to be in some severe thunderstorm risk. For tomorrow, we got a very large area of the 5% and 5% slight risk and 2% 2% moderate, I mean marginal risk for some tornado activity as well as some hail and some wind, damaging wind gusts and some hail. I'll probably come out with another report tomorrow on that because this is probably going to update again either later today or tomorrow in the morning. So they're gonna probably, they might upgrade it, they might downgrade it, I don't know, but this is gonna change. So I'm gonna give you updated information tomorrow on this because I don't exactly know how this is gonna progress from now. A lot of things can happen after the storms today. All right, and then day 3, which will be Tuesday, it looks like. Then we have some more problems out there, right there in the center of the country in the Midwest, Kansas, Oklahoma, parts of northern Texas got the slight risk and that 5% risk for some tornadoes and stuff like that that might be possible there. But that's why they only have the probabilistic right there. There's a lot of things that are unpredictable at this point. So the predictability is too low in some aspects, and that just means that usually the models are not in agreement with different things. So they're going to update probably tomorrow or tonight or tomorrow. They're going to update it again. So I'll make sure to do another broadcast on what is going on in those 2 days. But today we're going to focus on this today for the convection outlook for today. So that being said, let's jump over to pivotal weather and take a look. General hazards, this is what we got for general hazards out here. We got some heat risks, high wind advisories, some red flag warnings, high heat and everything. Winter storm warnings actually in some places too, I'm seeing up here in Wyoming, parts of Montana. So it must be getting pretty cold up there as well. And got some little spots of some flood warnings here and there from the recent rains and things like that that have come by, especially on the East Coast here because of all the tropical systems. Got some flood warnings in there. But, all right, let's move on. Okay, so this is GFS, but I want to take a closer look at the high-res model. Let's go to Composite Reflectivity, where you can see that line of storms that's kind of forming right there just behind the front. All right, so what we're going to do is roll up a couple of models, and let's take a look here. You can already see this start to build up a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's at any kind of severe, it doesn't look like it's at severe levels yet. So this is 18Z. All right, now you're starting to see some red in there on the southern end, which is pretty consistent because it makes sense, because usually with these storms, these big long line of storms like this, on the southern end of them, basically on the southernmost tip of them is usually where you get that supercell development buildup, unless you're getting a wide, thin line of very narrow and very isolated storms. Then you can have them just all along the line. But it seems like right now it's going to be clustering down here at the bottom of the storms. So you can see this little isolated cell that's popping up right there. Let's take a look at the atmospherics just ahead of that cell. And you can see that cap is really broken. A lot of moisture going up into the air. A little bit of disturbance in the wind field, but for the most part, up at the upper levels is pretty stable. Not at severe levels yet. But as we go into the later parts of the day, okay, now you can see this leg that's kind of like popping out right here. And you can see all these little tears that are kind of tearing out right there. And you can see these little areas that look like it's just interjecting into the storm right there. That's inflow. So you're getting a lot of inflow notches that could be possible along these storms, and that's a worry too, because it means that there could be some very avid rotation in that. Getting severe risk now. You can see that wind field just kind of bowing like that. You know, and that's indicating to me that you got some mixture in those wind fields right there that could get things spinning a little bit. And that's a really wide cap on that. LCL is lowering down a lot. It came down a lot from the last frame that we looked at. There's a lot of moisture going up into the air, and that's that wet sector that I was telling you about. Got some heat that's there too as well, but not a whole lot of it, but enough probably to roll out some severe storms. Now we're seeing that bowing sections, these bowing sections that are coming in. It's really choppy. Might have some inflow notches that are in there. I can't zoom in on this. I can with another model, but all right, HRR model here, just ahead of this line. This is in western Oklahoma, and I just clicked it right ahead of this line, and this is the information that it's given me here, where you're getting this classic supercell curve right here, broken cap. You're getting moisture that's in there, increased heat a little bit. LCL height is coming down lower, nice flow and stable wind field. All right, and it looks like our CAPE is sitting at 2,649 roughly in that area. So about what I said earlier, 1,500 to 2,000 joules of CAPE or more. So that's showing that instability is very apparent, and got some significant hail possibility there as well. And that this just kind of measures what it thinks might be possible in that area given the atmospherics at this time. So going into western Oklahoma and then curving up to the northern part of Oklahoma, it looks like right here going into middle Oklahoma, you're getting these big red sections right here. There could be supercells that are popping up in any of these isolated little spots. See all these little spots right here that are red? You could have them popping up anywhere in this area going into Missouri. It doesn't look as promising in the northern part of this, but down here in the southern part, you could have supercells all in this as far as that development is concerned. All right, so getting that moisture that's a little bit down at a lower level now, getting increased heat that's going up in there. Nice, beautiful, stable wind field right there, over 2,000 joules of CAPE. Supercell development is significant in this area at this time. All right, so getting classic supercell indication, tornado risk, EF2 or greater. Looks like about to EF2, EF3 is possible. It looks like just based off of this is a generality based on the data that it's coming up with. It doesn't mean that you're going to have EF3 tornadoes. It just means that based on what the atmosphere is doing, it could be possible. So, all right. And then, okay, so here's the problem right here. This frame right here is kind of worrying because the last frame that I looked at, and this is general, this is like every 12 hours or something like that, or no, every hour, something like that it goes by. You know what I mean? But you're starting to see that kind of build up a little bit, but then the next frame, boom, look at that big, huge curving tail, and you're getting a bowing section with that as well, right in this area, which means ahead of that bowing section, you're going to have high winds. Damaging winds are possible, gusty winds. But look how thin that line of storms is, and it's smooth, and it's very, very narrow. It's very isolated, and you can see all these in every single bit of this line of storms is a little red section right there. You can see a little bit of red in there, and those are all isolated cells. Anywhere along this line, you could have rotating thunderstorms and supercell development. Anywhere along it, and so let's pick let's pick a couple spots here. So they got a marginal tornado risk down towards the south. Still kind of a stable wind field with that. Broken cap, a lot of moisture, heat going up into the atmosphere. All the ingredients are there. Let's look a little bit further north of the line and see what it's looking at. So it intensifies as it's going higher up into the line towards Oklahoma, where the atmosphere is much more unstable. Nice thick wind field right there. That's a stable wind field. Supercell development is sitting at 12.6 with 2104 in CAPE. Significant hail development that is possible. Moisture and heat definitely there and apparent. Looks like anywhere from all the way up to low end EF3 is possible in that area, even to that extent. Let's look right at this notch right here where it kind of bends down from the main part of the storm here, right there. There you go. And now you're getting a little bit higher indices. A lot of moisture going on up in there. A lot of heat. Supercell development on this reading is 22.6 at 1,598 in CAPE. I mean, that's not as high as we've been seeing in CAPE, but that instability is definitely there. I've seen tornadoes form in 500 CAPE levels. You know what I mean? I've seen them form in 500 CAPE to 3,000 CAPE and more. So it's definitely possible, given our atmospherics for today. So definitely, if you were in Oklahoma, let's look a little bit further north, up towards the Kansas border. So all the way up, I mean, all the way up along this entire line of storms. Let's go up into Kansas here. Take a look at that. Getting a lower end tornado risk up in Kansas, but still, all along this line right here, anywhere along this line, there could be tornadoes embedded, supercells and tornadoes that are possible along this line. Going on through this afternoon to this evening, and it just, look at it, gets thicker. I went to the next frame, just gets thicker and thicker. It's just those cells are building. Now you got this big, nice, strong, squall line of storms right there, and it's just nice and straight. You get that bowing section right there. You got some bluing that's going on in here. That's going to be heavy rain, and some damaging and gusty winds is definitely possible. But this is where that moderate risk is at right here. That's where it's getting into right now. This is the most unstable part of the atmosphere right here. That's where we're getting that highest concentration of instability. So this is the HRR model. This is not the GFS or the or the NAM model. So usually the NAM model overplays these threats a lot because it's not really used. I don't use it for forecasting. I use it to look at, long range kind of longer range kind of things, forecasting for a few days out and everything. It's good for that, but it's not good for real-time data. That's the HRR model, a high-res model. That's why I use it. The HRR model doesn't usually upplay, situations like this. But in this case, we definitely have some high risk that is going on in Oklahoma and in that associated sector today. Supercell 17.5. Yeah, we got the STB at 5.0. 1200 in Cape. So definitely have some significant tornado potential that is in that area. Broken cap, moisture and heat going up into the air. We definitely have all the associated ingredients for some damaging tornadoes today. Very destructive tornadoes are possible. So this is definitely the day, at least for a little while until later on into probably, wow, look at that. Some of these, significant supercell development, significant in every way that I'm looking at, where you're getting just some very worrying ingredients from the atmosphere as far as that's concerned. So this evening, you know what I mean, or this afternoon into this evening, this is going to start kicking off this afternoon, really. Probably after about 1 p.m. it's going to start jumping up a notch. And that's really what I'm kind of anticipating is about 12 o'clock or I would say by noon or 12:30, 1 o'clock at the latest, you need to have a plan set in place for your family. You know what I mean? This is the time to get it ready now. So have that plan in place, have a place for your family to go to be safe, have your warnings set up so that you can listen to your local weather station and the warnings that they put out. Definitely today, I would say is one of those days where everybody has to be on their guard, being weather aware, because this could be a very dangerous day today. I'm not going to lie to you. It's kind of worrying a little bit because of how strong this storm seems to be apparent, but it's definitely there. All right, so let's look at some of the other ingredients here. Let's go to the severe weather models. We're going to do about most unstable Cape. All right, most unstable Cape. So this is the maximum potential of Cape levels that it's going to be in this area. So you can see those right here in this area. You're getting very strong Cape levels. Look at that right there. Look at 2,000 in some areas, 2,000, 2,200 in Cape and below. In the Gulf of Mexico, you're getting over 3,000s. All right. So this just shows you how unstable the atmosphere is at, it's going to be today. I mean, this is, earlier in the day and then later on, as those storms progress along Oklahoma and that associated area that, those Cape levels just really pick up. And then eventually into the overnight hours, eventually they die down quite a bit. All right, but that shows you that there is a lot of instability in the atmosphere. That's right there. This is surface-based Cape. Let's take a look at that. It says about the same thing. Where you're seeing that, those yellows that are in there, that's, usually around 2,000. Looks like 2,000 joules of Cape here. Yeah, so a lot of instability that's sitting here. Even these, even in these gray parts, it's over 1,000 Cape already. You know what I mean? It's, it's a lot of instability. It's definitely enough for some severe weather to roll out. All right, bulk shear. We're going to look at storm relative helicity. We'll go to 0 to 1 kilometer here. And you can see that red area of Helicity right here, 283. Look at that jump up. As we go later on into the evening, 324, you can see that Helicity just jumping up into some really extreme levels. And that Helicity is what gives these storms the ability to roll out some severe weather. It's kind of like it gives that storm the power that it needs. You know what I mean? It's kind of like giving it that protein and that power to really roll out some dangerous weather. You know, it's kind of the way that you can think of it. All right, energy Helicity index. And this is just going to pretty much corroborate the Helicity that we just looked at. Yeah, so we're looking at 4.2. This is the kind of Helicity that you see on the site that I have from the National Weather Service, and you can see that those Helicity levels are just really jumped up quite a bit. And that's, that's just going to give those storms that power that they need. All right, supercell composite, let's take a look at that. Yeah, you can see those red areas right there. Supercell composite, like I was saying, is going to roll out. You know what I mean? Up to 13 and 15 in some areas with supercell composite. And this is where the front is at. And that cold front. And down here would be the dry line and the the outflow boundary line that's going through. All right, so let's go back a few frames. Take a look at, yeah, you can see that supercell composite is definitely there. Significant tornado parameter. So you can see that, wow, look at that. So we're looking at 2.7 significant torr, 3.6 significant torr. You know what I mean? All these red areas where you're getting that significant tornado parameter, that entire area in the west of Oklahoma is definitely in the target zone for tornadic activity today. I mean, in these purple areas, look at this, you know what I mean? Where you're getting, you can almost get into 4 and 5 levels in that significant tornado parameter in those purple areas right there, where you can get some of the largest tornadoes. Long track tornadoes could be possible today. Very strong and destructive tornadoes could definitely be possible today. All right, I'm going to look at lapse rates here. All right, so the lapse rates, 8.1. So as we go later on into the evening, you get a lot of those sections of high lapse rates that's going along the front and with the trough here. Let's go back a few frames. I want to look at mixed layer. So mixed layer cape as it rolls on through the evening. Yeah, still getting very high indices even with the mixed layer cape here. 2,200 in some areas. So there is a whole bucket full of instability in that area of Oklahoma today, what we're looking at. So this is, this is a dangerous situation today. So definitely want to be on your guard, on your warnings, have your family have a plan to be safe today, and do all that. Oh yeah, I did want to do some forecasting with us here today. All right, so we're looking at today. Doesn't look like it gives us a whole lot of room, but this is the NAM model today, and let's go to this composite reflectivity. So this is those are those storms that are rolling through today, and then as they progress into the next couple of days, you can see some of those kind of forming up here a little bit. Some severe weather might be possible up into those areas. Don't really see much more of anything that's really hazardous until at this point. This is on the 13th, 3 days from now, when you're starting to see these roll out. I mean, we can look at sounding data, but I don't know how accurate it's going to be because it's about 3 days out. So we got some severe weather that's possible through the Midwest there. We got it looks like a tropical system that's in here. Yep. All right. Neither here nor there. All right, and then you got this whole blob of weather right here. I mean, right now it just looks like rain, but it could be just that it needs time for this to develop to be able to, be able to tell more information about it. So in the next, over the next 2 days, I'm going to be paying attention to the convection models and see what they tell me, see what they say. So let's refresh this page to see if it tells us some different data as we're rolling into today. All right, so you can see those. It's already 64, or I mean 65 in dew points up in Oklahoma right now. So it did jump up a little bit. The Cape still looks about the same. That wind shear is coming into Oklahoma pretty soon here now. So that wind should be starting pretty soon. Other than that, nothing else has really changed as far as right now. But by about 1, 2 p.m., that's this whole entire picture is going to change. And to be sure, when it does start to change, I'll do another live stream just so I can show you guys what it looks like as far as the data is looking like and everything, so you can see it for yourself. And this is the live real-time data. So as soon as it rolls through, then I'll have to show you guys everything that's going on here. So this is where we're at right now, the real-time live radar data. Excuse me. And you got this low, that cold front that's going through. There's that outflow boundary line right there. And you can see those southerly flows that are coming up here from the Gulf of Mexico, where a lot of this heat and very unstable air is at. There's a lot of heat going down in here. We saw the heat that was down in there. It's in the 70s, almost high 70s in some areas. So that's blowing a lot of that heat up into this area with that southerly flow, while this is blowing a lot of that, that cool air behind that cold front that's going to be coming in through here. These two are going to merge once that cold front comes across, and when they do merge, that's going to be enough to get thunderstorms rotating, because you're going to have your downdraft up here and then you're going to have your updraft up here. So it supports everything that it needs for severe weather. This is going to be taking care of your inflow and your updraft. This is going to be all your RFD and your downdraft as soon as those superstorms get rotating. And then you got another westerly flow that's coming in through here as well, interjecting into the southerly flow. So it's given, it's given a lot of potential for this weather to really, really intensify by the afternoon, as soon as these storms start to roll out later on into the day. So this is what we're looking at. All right, so you can see a little bit of those areas of Oklahoma where you are in the danger zone, anywhere from Lawton, Oklahoma, all the way to Fort Smith, even a little bit further west in some areas of Oklahoma as it comes into here. Wichita Falls, Texas, you guys might be in danger there as well. Parts of Denton, Dallas, you guys down here, you're going to have some potential for that severe weather to roll out as soon as that tail of nice thin line of storms right there is going to be rolling out. You're going to get isolated cells in there, and anywhere along that line of isolated cells, you could have rotating thunderstorms. So, and that can easily, today, with the atmosphere as unstable as it is, today would be a bad day for any supercells to develop, because tornado potential is very, very there today. It is on its game, and this is a 10% hatched area. This whole entire area right here around this enhanced risk, okay, is a 10% hatched area for EF2 or greater potential today, and that's coming directly from the National Weather Service. So this is definitely a day to listen to your warnings, listen to your weather stations, have that plan in place. Please be safe today. Even if you do not get tornadoes today, you still can have some severe, gusty, damaging winds and some very damaging hail today. It is very, very possible in these areas today. All right, so I'll do another live stream later on to show you guys the real-time data once this all changes, and then, everybody is on the greater humor today, and hopefully that everybody will be safe, and hope everybody makes it through the day. And all right, so do another live stream later, and we'll be back on here tomorrow to look at the convection outlook for tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining me, and come back and see what else I got going up. I appreciate it.